Space, the final frontier. Space Station Ashland sits on the edge of Federation space with its companion ship, the U.S.S. Dilamus Christian. The space around them is full of mystery and strange wonders, where secrets are kept and danger lurks around every corner. The crew of the Dilamus Christian must navigate treacherous waters as they work to protect the Federation. But as they peer into the unknown, they will discover that the line between friend and foe is not always clear. They will be tested like never before and will face challenges that will push them to their limits. Join us on this adventure as we explore the farthest reaches of space and uncover the hidden truths that lie within the shadows. Tabletop Journeys presents Star Trek Preservations.
Welcome, travelers. I'm Lee Wanika, and this is Star Trek Preservations. I'm back with the crew of the Dilamus Christian for yet another adventure. Season 3, Episode 9. I'm very excited for this episode. That said, let's introduce the cast, and we're going to let them take it away. The mic is yours.
Hey everyone, this is Joe Harney, and I am playing Captain Sabian Tobor, the commanding officer of the U.S.S. Dilamus Christian, the Federation Saber-class starship, as a joined Trill.
Hey, I'm Adam Scaramulla, and I portray Commander Ocean Chazilwer, the Dilamus Christian's Andorian First Officer.
Hi, I'm David Rideout. I play Lieutenant Commander Avidian Tanari, the Dilamus Christian's Andorian Chief Engineer, and I've finally completed the repairs to the captain's chair and is now covered with rich Corinthian leather.
But does it have a seatbelt?
Oh, it's a Federation ship, of course not.
We can't have OSHA involved in the future.
Hi all, I'm Lacey Knutson and I'm playing Lieutenant Narila Nilan, the Dilamus Christian's science officer.
Excellent. So we're going to jump right into things tonight. I'm going to let our erstwhile captain start with his opening log, which will include our stardate.
Captain's log 60010.066. In an unexpected turn of events, the Dilamus Christian has been ordered to transport an Aegis engineering team and their equipment to Port Telar until Vareth 4 in the Yaren corridor. We've been ordered to oversee safe delivery, verify power system readiness, and provide humanitarian support for Romulan evacuation efforts. Maintain cordial relations with the Provost Terran Erlea and cooperate with all local authorities. The situation is politically delicate, and Starfleet Command has informed us that Tal Shiar oversight is expected. We must proceed with discretion and caution and ensure that Starfleet conduct remains exemplary and await further instructions once secure communications with Starfleet Command has been reestablished.
With this mission, we are starting with a grand total of 3 threat per player present, which gives us a start of 12. For those who are not as familiar with Star Trek adventures, that means this is expected to be a dangerous mission. That said, we start the episode. Captain, you're on the bridge, you're in your chair, your crew is in whatever areas you would think they would be at this time. It is late afternoon. The floor is yours, crew. You know where you're headed, you know what your mission is. What are the things you'd like to do? And start with whomever would like to take the reins first.
I'll let everyone know that there is a 1800 mission briefing in the conference room so that they can prepare for it.
I would also add for UXO, you are aware that you do have a small team of Makos on board at this time, temporarily assigned. They are with you not because of this mission, but just because they were with you when you got this assignment. So they're just there. It was easier to keep going to where you had to go versus dropping them off. And you also have an Aegis team with you as well. So largely it's engineering. They do have their own medical person. Basically, they cover all the roles. So it's 6 people to cover their missions.
Until the briefing starts, I will be making sure the Aegis team is comfortable going over with them what the plan is once we get there, since the Aegis team is primarily an engineering group, correct?
They serve an engineering function, but most folks have whatever their actual roles. So they have a security person, they have a person whose job is science, they have a con officer who basically flies their shuttle. They have their own shuttle that they would be using. They cover all the regular roles, but they all have an engineering focus. Their job is to support engineering efforts, but it's a team to be able to do that. So other folks will pitch in, follow the lead of the engineer in those situations. If they have to get approval for things to be done, that's where whoever's in the command department might take over. Sometimes they'll be assigned to missions where humanitarian aid and medical things might come into play. One of the things that this Aegis team is planning on doing, if time allows, is setting up clinic facilities in other areas. It's a large relocation camp. This particular colony is not a permanent home. This is still within a short distance of the Yarn Corridor, is actually about 8 light years away from the Federation side of the neutral zone. So there have already been diplomatic allowances to allow the Federation to go to that place and back, and for the Romulans to go there. So they are evacuating inner systems near Hovis to this spot where the Federation, at some point when their fleet is ready, will come here and take people out. But this location is potentially still in jeopardy from Hovis. So it's
Okay.
not safe. Not necessarily like physically evaporated, but it's more like the radiation dissipation, shockwave could wipe out an atmosphere and all of those things. It's in the danger zone. So this is temporary just to make permanent relocation easier.
Okay, then get together with the team and work with Dr. Now to make sure that they have what they need, replicate any equipment that they might require that they wouldn't have had coming on, and make sure that we've got plans coordinated so that our engineering and medical teams can work with them.
Okay. Would you care to give me an appropriate role? You let me know how you would approach that. Task difficulty of 2, basically creating a trait for this assistance.
All right, maybe what, reason command?
Okay. I'm down with that.
Okay, I will spend a threat to get an extra dice.
Ooh, yeah.
Puts us up to lucky 13.
It's my favorite number.
All right. 2 5s and a 19, so that's 2 successes. And you
All
did
right.
not say there was an increased complication range, so we're safe.
There is not. So you are safe from that this time. So
Um,
you've successfully created a trait. And what would you like to call this trait to aid with the mission?
how about simply calling it prepared?
Okay. Prepared mission coordination.
Yep.
All right, got it. And with Tanari busy doing that until 1800, got about 2 hours he's working on that. What would you be doing in the science department?
So you mentioned that where we're heading is environmentally pretty dangerous. Is that
So, yeah, the Hovis star, which is the star for the home system of the Romulan Empire, is about to
Mhm.
go supernova at some point in the very near future. So they are in the process of trying to evacuate billions of people from the Romulan territories. But this location, while not in Romulan territory in the neutral zone, is still in jeopardy of radiation impact from the supernova. So it's not safe. It is safer. And again, it's more the Romulans are still negotiating, do we want a bunch of Federation ships rolling through our territory? They're still being weird about that. So they're like, we'll get you 8 light years into the neutral zone and you can help us from there. So this is more like a temporary relocation camp to house people until Federation ships and other ships can take them elsewhere. but there's still negotiations as to where that's going to be. Previously, during one of the earlier quick tracks, Captain Tobor had secured a location for a camp, but that's not the entire populace of the Romulan Empire going there. So there's a lot of negotiations throughout the Alpha Quadrant of where can these people go. That's happening. So right now, some people are being moved here.
So one of the thing that comes to my mind that might be useful to work on because I have a focus in it, but correct me if this doesn't really make sense. But one of my focuses is PPE gear development. So maybe I can work on optimizing gear that we could maybe provide or use if things do go awry faster than expected.
I love that idea. I really do. In that particular case, I think that would be a 3 difficulty to kind of optimize because the gear exists. So you're basically taking a look at the parameters for what they already have and then saying, okay, how can we make this even better? How do we harden this against most, if not all, of the potential threats to give them a better chance? I would say this is going to be a 3 difficulty, but there are bigger complication factors. So this would have a complication factor of, and I'm going to spend some threat to do that. So it'll be 18, 19, 20 on the threat.
Okay.
So that should take us down to 11 threat.
Okay. So I think, can I use the ship's computers or sensors to aid me?
Yes, you can. And you know what? I owe Dave a roll because that could end up with momentum for you as well. Joe, if you want to roll for the ship for Dave's roll, we'll see if he pulled any momentum on that.
Could we also have Dr. Now roll for assist?
Yep. Adam, if you want to roll for Dr. No.
So I rolled a 6, which is a success on any combination of traits.
Yep.
I rolled an 8, which is a success.
All right. So that's 2 momentum that you have in the pool.
All right, and I'd like to use a momentum, please.
Okay. So you're going to use 1 momentum. So that's going to be 11 threat and 1 momentum.
Assume a reason science would be acceptable.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, 3
And
successes.
clearly you have a focus.
Yes. Inspired by my focus. But for the focus, it just increases the amount, the height
Critical
of,
range.
yeah,
Yep.
okay. So unfortunately not that good success. I got a 7, 10, and a 14.
Okay. So you have 3. And Dave, would you roll for the ship? I would say probably computers.
We all know why Lewinick is asking me to roll.
He's determined D&D is crit fishing.
Maybe he's just giving you opportunities to really come through.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. In a pinch, we want you to shine.
Of course, that's just my conspiracy theory focus coming through. So what's my target number?
So, yeah, definitely be computer science on this roll.
A reason science or an insight science?
For the ship?
For the ship.
Yeah.
Assist.
Computer science.
Yeah.
Dave's going to roll. We're just looking for the target number.
Oh, gotcha. Computer science, 9 plus 3, so a 12.
Lee, don't ever say I
Yes.
didn't, never given you anything. 18. This is the dice that I brought with me tonight because it never rolls to hit in D&D.
It's not the numbers that it's biased on, it's the failures that's biased on.
The intent.
Yeah.
Yep. Hatred cares not for which direction it's supposed to face.
We are having a 20-sided die commissioned for one of my players and a guy I run in his games as well. Dice hate him, whether they did or not. So we're going to get him a die that runs from 0 to 19 so that we can trick the universe into giving him good rolls.
I like that. With that, you've got a good working plan. You're able to replicate their equipment on board the ship. And what you've been able to put together for add-ons and configurations and programming and all those things are going to be very successful in hardening them, providing additional protection if things were to go poorly. The good news is in areas that are currently being bombarded, that could be very helpful for people like still trying to get gear, get equipment, experiments, and that. So basically, you have all the tools and all the programs for that. That could be a very strong negotiating tool that you can use with the Romulan government.
Sweet. Thank you.
All right. And Joe.
Yeah, essentially, I am doing background research on the provost and what's their deal and what to expect on Tavareth 4.
Okay. Doing a little research, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yep. What would you like me to roll? Insight command?
Yeah, I think Insight Command works. And the ship would assist with comms command. And Adam, if you want to roll for the ship with this one,
What's my target number? Essentially,
your target
two.
number is going to be. This is the Romulans, so I'm going to say it's actually going to be a 4. But no, I'll make it a 3 because they're in act. You're talking about the provost, so the provost is going to be there. So I'm going to say it'll be a 3, but it is the Romulan, so there will be a higher complication. 19 and 20, so we're back to 11 threat.
And how much momentum do we have?
We have 1 momentum.
Then I guess I'll buy one extra die with that momentum.
Okay,
And can I use Starfleet protocol or diplomacy for a focus for this? I'm
absolutely.
starting to build my diplomatic profile of her.
Yep.
Oh, sweet. Delta, a 4 and a 10. So I get 5 successes on the dice.
Very nice.
Yeah. Good way to start
All right.
and then add them for the ship.
I rolled a 16.
Okay, so no bad, no good. So I get 2 momentum back plus my bonus momentum.
All right. The provost, Terran Erlea, is pretty well known for being a steady presence amongst all the chaos at Port Tellers. They're very consistent about dealing with moments of panic and difficulty, navigating a Federation presence on the area. There's just a lot of challenges and difficulties that are going on, and they seem to be regarded as being a pragmatic bureaucrat with a reputation for being calm and efficient. The provost has managed disputes between Romulan refugees and Federation personnel fairly amiably. She doesn't get bad reports from Federation folks. Even more secure and investigatory reports regard her fairly well. But she is stern, she's methodical, and quite secretly, the diplomatic corps thinks that this is probably one of the better Romulan diplomats they've ever had the pleasure of working with. And it's made this, despite all of the challenges involved, it's made work here much easier.
And so they are Romulan.
Yeah, they are Romulan, she, her.
All right. And so with my bonus momentum and 1, I want to spend that to create or either make the trait that I got from the roll or create a potent 2 trait, whichever works best for you, Lee.
The other trait is more about the engineering and the technology involved with this process. With what you're doing, I would say if you're going to use that, you would have be creating your own trait to deal with the diplomacy of it all. Basically, having a good lead on the provost themselves as a person, less the mission specifics.
Okay, I guess I was just misunderstanding. I wasn't sure if the difficulty 3 task for this information included a trait with it, with that it was like creating a trait plus 1 difficulty.
No, it did not. This was to find the information on her. While it's been known for about a year, a little bit over a year that this is happening, this relocation camp is not even a full year old at this point. And so who was assigned there and all of that is, while it's known and not quote unquote secretive, it's not well known, widely known. So that's not, it's more about you just had to figure out how to access the information and then get a real good within 2 hours glimpse on who this person is or what have you. But if you did want to spend momentum, there might be more information you could glean, certainly with the success that you've had on this one.
Okay. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna spend one of the 3 momentum, I'm gonna spend the bonus momentum first to get another question.
Okay. And
about
that's 1-to-1, correct?
yeah, and what are her views of the Federation and the evacuation?
So her views of the Federation are not widely known or documented. She's not made a lot of comments. The fact that she is ranked in the Romulan hierarchy would indicate that, at least publicly, she toes the Empire's, the Senate's line as far as Federation dealings. She's not offended anybody for that reason. That said, with your momentum spend, you are also made aware that she, at one point in her career, was a logistics officer within the Empire, and she actually was demoted because she refused to falsify evacuation records that would have abandoned an entire Romulan colony. So she chose to do the right thing, quote unquote, save lives, which did save lives. She was successful in that, but she is viewed by the Senate and military commanders as having divided loyalties, and that's how she got relegated to this job. She took a demotion to be in the position where she was in. She had enough political clout within the Empire to not get killed, but not enough to not get demoted, and basically is on the outs with the Empire.
All right. So I'm going to spend the 2 momentum we gained to create a trait.
Okay.
Something along this line of help me help you. I think that's what the trait I'm going to go with.
All
To
right.
represent that she's got this like moral, kind of this moral center of deep service to the Romulan people, regardless
Yep.
of what nonsense the politicians are playing. She's there to serve Romulus and Romulans.
Cool beans. Gotcha. And that brings us to our XL.
Yep. I got a couple things I want to throw in the fire here. So the first thing I'm going to want to do, actually refresh my memory. We're not taking on Romulans. We are escorting Romulan ships, correct?
Neither. Right now, you're ferrying an Aegis team to a planet within the neutral zone, which has a colony, which has Romulan refugees.
But we're going to be picking them up, or they're going to have their own ships pick them up, and we're escorting them.
The Federation will. That is not the Dilamus Christian's mission. You're just getting an
Okay.
Aegis team there.
Got it. So that being said, there's always scenarios that plans change. I'm going to loop Lieutenant Alana into on this, but I'm going to want to leverage Lieutenant Thenev to be
Okay.
ensuring that the security systems, if they have Romulans on board, that everything's patched, that everything is up to snuff, that we have the ability to do a sort of not segregated network for them, but basically make sure that if we do need to take on Romulans, especially potentially Tal Shiar, that we're covered with them trying to do what Romulans are known for. The other thing that I want to do is make sure that the Nessie and the Eagle, to a lesser degree, but primarily the Nessie, is essentially going to be set up and ready to go when we get close. We want to be able to deploy those on a moment's notice.
Okay. So as you approach range, you want them on Ready 5 status.
Yes.
Okay. I think that it's actually going to be 2 separate roles. The first one is going to be creating a trait, hardened internal security. So that's going to be a difficulty 2. And Alana can assist. So Dave, you'll be doing that. And Lacey, if you roll for the ship, and that would be computers security. The second test is going to be the shuttle readiness. It's only going to be a 1 difficulty to have that set up. And Joe, you can take whoever's in charge of the shuttles to roll for that as an assist.
All right. I have a focus in security systems for this. And what are we at for?
11 threat, no momentum.
Okay. And what am I looking at for difficulty?
2. 2 to create the trait hardened internal security.
Got it. All right. I'm just going to roll straight. See what happens.
All right.
That would be 1 success and a 19.
Ooh, okay.
You didn't
And
you
so,
caught
Alana,
fire.
would you care to assist?
Sure. What attributes were we rolling again?
In this case, it would be,
Insight security,
yeah, insight security.
trying to outthink the Romulan, outsneak the sneak.
Got an 8.
Excellent. So that's 2 successes. And Lacey, if you roll for the ship.
I rolled a 10 and you said it was computer sensors.
Computers is 9 and science is 3, so that'd be a 12.
Wouldn't it be, it'd be computer security, right?
The lowest system the ship has is a 9, so a 10 is a success in any department combo.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So you've got 3 successes, which gives you 1 momentum.
Hey, real quickly, did we ever get a replacement second shift con officer when Lieutenant Asha left?
I think yes, but I don't think they were named or specifically listed. So yeah, you can assume that there is a person who filled that role, but they have not come up. Between Luson and Arvik, you've not really had to go into
Yeah.
the other person, but they're there.
So if Tobor had a choice in the matter, he'd request either a Denobulin or a Tellarite or any other species has a little to no sleep cycle for the third shift, Delta shift pilot.
You know what? That sounds like a great thing we can take care of on a quick trek we'll have coming up for you.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Like you, almost like you've had a revolving door of drummers for the band for a while, and finally Tober's, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna go through the, yeah, or you and Ocean have said, look, this is crazy. Let's get something going. So between the two of you, we can figure that out.
We gonna change the ship's name to the U.S.S. Spinal Tap?
Take us to warp 11.
For the record, doesn't matter what species it is, it's going to be Ensign Nigel. I just want you to know that.
There you go, Dave.
That, so it was said and so it was written. All right, we've successfully got hardened security at a trait of 1. You have 1 momentum. You have a second test you were going to do, basically making the orders to make sure your flight crews get the Nessie and the Eagle in ready 5 status and super prepped when you come out of warp in system. And that's going to be a 1 difficulty, no complication range.
And that's Arvik. Is that a control con?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got a 15 in that. I think with the 2 dice, he'll just roll 2.
All right.
The 1 difficulty. 5 and a 7, and he if helm operations, he doesn't have a shuttle specialty, so 2 successes.
All right. So that gives you a second momentum, and your shuttles are on ready 5. And for those in the listening audience, what that basically means, using some real world military titling and concept, is starships have a lot of space where shuttles can be broken down and are not able to be used. So what we do within our show, within our canon, is we have shuttles that are ready to fly. That's known as Ready 5. We have shuttles that take 15 minutes to get ready, and we have shuttles that take an hour to get ready. Basically 3 states of readiness. And you can still have more shuttles, but that means they're completely broken down. They're just not ready. And what that allows us to do with the mechanics of the 2D20 system is set up the difficulty tasks and the complexity of getting things ready faster than they would normally be ready. So we have 11 threat, we have 2 momentum, we have hardened security, we have the ships on ready 5, and everybody's done their thing prior to the 1800 briefing. As everybody's getting ready to go into the briefing, Captain Tobor receives
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
I'll take it in my ready room.
encryption level ROC Omega 6. Intelligence assets report a former Romulan naval officer residing among refugees at Port Talar under an assumed identity. This individual, designation pending, once prevented open war between the Federation and Romulan Star Empire. He now holds actionable intelligence concerning the Tal Shiar Borg research activity in the Evaction Corridor. Your secondary objective is to locate and discreetly extract this individual for debrief at ROC facilities. Maintain full operational cover. Civilian casualties or exposure of Federation involvement are unacceptable. Confirm only through secure ROC channels once contact is established. And encrypted briefing. It is now just about to be 1800, and your senior staff has assembled in the conference room.
All right.
Captain enters the conference room. I assume Alana would be there and Arvik would be there.
And Dr. New as well.
And Dr. New.
All right, please be seated. I take the seat. Let's start with engineering, Mr. Tenari. How I know we've been running her hot for the last 3 weeks. How are we doing on our status of the engines?
Things are stable. She seems to be doing well. The ship's gotten used to being run at 110%, it seems.
Well, I want you to, as soon as we arrive outside of Tavareth 4, I want first priorities to doing all necessary diagnostics and immediate repairs to make sure that we have as much warp power as we can once we give her a chance to cool off.
Understood.
Mr. Chizilrer, how are our guests doing? Both of the Aegeus and of the non-Aegeus kind.
Nothing unusual at this point.
So are Mako friends blending in, making new friends? Do they have newly established covered IDs as Starfleet security personnel?
I would assume so, Luminica.
Yes, the Makos have all been formally retrained. So while some have greater or lesser specific understanding of tech, they all have been qualified for their various jobs. As Adam suggested, they've been basically absorbed into the security department, but they are basically their own unit within security now, specifically as designated by the ROC for your regional group. So they're security folks. They actually don't have their old uniforms. They wear Starfleet uniforms. The only difference is they have a green subshirt in addition to their yellow. So there is something that indicates that they are Makos, but they basically look like Starfleet security or operations personnel.
Perfect.
Until
Lieutenant
they gear up for a specific Mako-like mission, then they have all kinds of souped up gear.
Yeah. Lieutenant Alana, how are they giving you any problems, or are they interfacing with your command structure?
No problem, sir. We've worked out all the bugs and we're working together smoothly.
Excellent. And then, Mr. Soria, have you've been working with our GS team on getting them prepped and ready once we arrive to engage in their mission? Yes.
Yes, yeah. Dr. New and I have been working on making sure we have all protocols set up and making sure that they have everything they need ready to go.
Excellent. I know we're no Galaxy class ship, but whatever humanitarian aid we can provide, Dr. New, work with the science department and Lieutenant Nilon to stage any supplies that we have that we can deploy and ensure that we can meet. One of the first orders of business with me after meeting the provost is finding out what supplies we can provide and which ones are most needed from her perspective. So I'll be letting science and medical know both immediately after making contact what provisions can be done. Work with operations to make sure that the logistics is running smoothly.
Understood, sir.
Now, I know things have been tense, what with the end of the Dominion War and the fragility of the treaty alliance of convenience against the Dominion that occurred with the Romulans and the Federation. I know there's been a lot of speculation that it was not going to hold, and now their star is predicted to go nova, and what that will mean for the future. We are being given an opportunity to show Starfleet at its best. We're going to be met with a lot of hostility and suspicion and skepticism from these Romulan refugees who are not only used to being distrustful of anyone, but have been indoctrinated for generations to hate and fear the Federation. So we must do everything in our power and make sure that everyone under your command understands that they're not to take the bait of any provocations done by any particular Romulan refugee that is quite understandably anxious and likely overwhelmed at the catastrophe that is occurring to not only their political state, but to them personally as being displaced refugees. So let us show them why Starfleet is a federation made up of over 150 individual species that have come together to unite in common good and common purpose. And I know each and every one of you will always strive to uphold the best of what we represent when we wear this uniform. But now, more than ever, that will especially be needed in these tense times. Now, from my research, the governor, Taryn Irlea, is known as a pretty straight shooter. She's been handling these disputes between the Romulan and Federation personnel really well. One thing I did come across is that she used to be a logistical officer, but was demoted for refusing to falsify reports. So everything I've been able to dig up on her so far seems to me that she's a true patriot and not particularly interested in politics per se, but in getting the job done and making sure that the Romulan people are served. So I'm hoping that'll be an in to establishing better and broader diplomatic relations. I'm still working to identify where she actually fits in the overall political structure, because oftentimes to have enough political clout to survive such an incident, but then suffering a demotion, makes me a little unsure of exactly where her family and her allies fit in all of this and how she ended up with this assignment.
Sir, exactly how confident are you about her? A background like that would be a perfect cover for a Tal Shiar operative.
Of course, you can never pass that by. But as much information as I've been vetted from the Diplomatic Corps and Starfleet intelligence, I'm getting a sense that she doesn't play the game like we've come to know. And do remember, even over the last 15, 20 years, the vast majority of our interactions with Romulans as Federation citizens have been with the Romulan Star Navy and their military and diplomatic personnel, as opposed to others who might not hold to the party line as fervently as your most dedicated assault frontline battle hardened warriors. So do keep that in mind, that this will be some of the first interactions that Romulan citizens and civilians in this refugee capacity are going to meet and interact with Federation individuals, let alone Starfleet personnel. I believe Captain Kirk was famous for saying, "Leave your bigotry in your quarters." Not that I see any of it amongst the eyes in this table. As I look at Alana.
But a situation like this would be perfect for a Tal Shiar coup.
But the Tal Shiar, what are they going to coup? They're going to coup the government and then be stuck with trying to evacuate 4 billion plus people before the star explodes. There's nothing to gain from disrupting the political structure except for to weaken the Star Empire even further, which, despite all of its cloak and dagger shenanigans, The Tal Shiar has always seen their job, literally, it's in the name, to be the shield of the Empire. If they thought they had a better path forward, they would, especially after Shinzen's attempted coup, that has really dramatically undercut the Tal Shiar's standing within Romulan society, as well as siding with Shinzen in that incident. So I think we can definitely expect that there to be Tal Shiar oversight, both overt and covert. And so do keep that in mind. Definitely don't share your murder board with them at all, Tanari.
Yes, sir.
And on a very similar note, I also think that we should ask our newly animated friend, DC, to refrain from interacting with any Romulan as much as possible, because if they start asking questions about what and where he came from, that could lead them back to the Epsilon Protocol, and then questions about Epsilon Protocol, about why Epsilon Protocol is necessary. And those are some questions we don't particularly want the Tal Shiar to be asking at this time. I'm going to talk to DC about that and how he can provide ancillary logistical support while remaining aboard ship. So I know we've got a couple more days until we reach Telerith 4. Let's continue preparations for the mission, and then I know you will execute your duties to the highest and most respectable manner that I've come to expect from everyone on this crew. Unless there's anything else or anyone has any last minute logistical matters that we need to address, I think we can adjourn for now. All right, everyone. Dismissed. Ocean, hang back for a moment.
The meeting is adjourned. The XO and CO are going to remain. Everybody else would likely be filing out.
So I slide over a black classified pad to Ocean that has the communication from the Regional Operation Command's Center that there's a intelligence asset, a former Romulan naval officer amongst the refugees at Port Talar under an assumed identity. And once this individual's identity designation is verified, we are to make contact with them and attempt to extract them discreetly from the facilities.